got 2 new hands, Blade. I don't know which one to use to kill you with.
A lot of people like to point at the X-Men or the Spider-Man movies or even Christopher Nolan's Batman movies as sort of this wave of true to the comic book adaptation films out there. But I like to talk about Blade, which is number 43 in our top 100 list. From Stephen Norrington, he was the director of this movie. It absolutely blew me away. I didn't know anything about Blade, the character, as a comic book hero, but I was so transported and transfixed by this film. I was literally shaking in my seat when I watched it.
It'll pass.
It was such a cool, visionary creation on screen. It was so exciting, this movie.
Let me tell you, I couldn't be more excited to see a film than I was to see Blade.
Yeah.
I saw some of the trailers for it, and I was over the moon. I went to see it at the Ziegfeld Theater in New York on 57th
Love that
Street.
place.
And I sat down and I saw it, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a little slight, and then a couple of years later, I went to visit my brother who collected all the Blade movies, and he made me sit through all of them again. And only then did I appreciate the genius of this picture.
Blade 2 was pretty great, too. Guillermo del Toro picked up the directing reins from Stephen Norrington, but I just loved the first movie because it unveiled this character. Wesley Snipes inhabited this role beautifully. It had definitely had its roots and its links to anime-styled combat. I also thought that Stephen Dorff was a fantastic villain in this movie.
I agree.
He was so menacing. And Chris Christopherson as Whistler, what a fantastic supporting role choice.
Totally, yeah, I agree 100%.
Catch you at a bad time.
I mean, Christopherson really grounds this crazy universe in some real human ways, and the film wouldn't be the same film without Christopherson. But you know, it's Wesley Snipes' movie from start to finish, and you're right, he owns this character through and through. And he's so thoroughly badass in this one and in the sequel that I kind of wish he could fly out of this movie and fly into those Twilight movies and just start everybody up, and the werewolves and everybody would just get bladed by his awesomeness. He's like a walking around upright, two-legged weapon. He just continues to unfold and reveal new abilities and new ways that he can destroy these vampires. I don't even know what he's fighting in the movies.
They're vampires, and he's
fighting these vampires.
He's half vampire. I love the way this movie opens. You know, that whole nightclub sequence with the blood dripping down, and Tracy Lords is dancing with everybody, and everybody's just getting off to all this blood dripping all over them, and then she attacks that guy.
What's wrong, baby?
That was one of the most exciting opening sequences I've ever seen. And I'm sitting in the theater just like, we are on a ride here. This is going to be totally badass, and it is from start to finish.
It's the only movie I've ever watched that made me want to go out and buy a duster and just start wearing that thing around, get some wraparound
And you want a muscle
sunglasses.
car that you can drive around at night?
Yeah, and get to Wesley Snipes' haircut.
You want to go to these weird clubs where everybody's got tattooed necks and things?
And that's the other thing about it, too. It created this underworld, this sense of menace, too.
These nightclubs of yours are dangerous.
Are they?
They draw needless attention to our kind.
I love the whole mythology in this thing as well. And we keep seeing these sort of modern takes. You mentioned Twilight. We saw that, what was
Mortal
it?
Instruments.
Mortal Instruments, City of Bones. We keep seeing these vampire-type things that borrow liberally from Blade, but they don't have the gravitas or the production design and the flourishes, all the little pieces that made this creepy, day-walking kind of vision of vampires so perfect. It really connected.
Well, it really took the vampire universe and married it with a kung fu movie, and the results are spectacular. If you've never seen Blade, you've got to see it. It is number 43 in our countdown of the 100 greatest films of all time. Do a kung fu move. That was terrible.
I know, that's all I got.